To round up our discussion on tactics, we will talk about fork and discovered attack. A fork is when a piece attacks two or more pieces at the same time. The position on the board shows a pawn attacking two rooks. This is just a basic example of what a fork looks like. A pawn attacking these two rooks. Now, let me give you some other examples. Now, this is just to show you that a knight is the best piece when it comes to making a fork. The knight can, attack as much as 8 pieces. This doesn't, this is not practical, but the knight can attack as much as 4 pieces in a game. 3 pieces, 4 pieces. So the knight is the best when it comes to making forks because it can attack more pieces at the same time. So these are simple examples of forks. The knight goes in, it's a check, attacking the king, the rook, and the king. Simple fork, check. And that, we would get this if the king moves. Another fork in this position is just knight going back here. Now we attack the king and the queen. The queen and the rook. A simple bishop fork here is bishop c5, attacking this, and the bishop is backed by the knight. So if the bishop is captured, the knight captures back. If the queen moves away, then we get the rook. A simple fork here is queen c3 or queen f4. Queen f4, where we attack the king and the knight. These are just simple examples, and this is just a very simple example of a fork of the king and the queen. Now, just like the pin and the skewer, sometimes you don't have direct forks, just like we just did. You might have to do a couple of things before you can make the fork happen, like in a position like this. This knight can go to e7, where it's possible to make a fork of the king and the queen. But black has a knight stopping that. So if this knight tries to do that now, this knight is going to capture. White has black has a knight stopping this. But white has a rook on the c file that is aiming at the knight. And because we know we have this installed, if we give up the rook for the knight, because the queen is on the square, it doesn't matter what happens. Because if the queen captures, we still give the fork and we get the queen. And if the pawn captures, we still give the fork and get the queen. So those are ways you use the fork. This is another example. Now, I have a fork, which is this. The knight can go to d4 and make a fork of the queen and the rook. But white also has a fork on e7. So if this knight goes to d4 to make this fork, he's just going to make his own fork. When I move my king, he's going to capture my queen. And then I'm going to capture back. Then he's going to move his queen somewhere. So now, because I know he's going to come to e7, and I know I have a fork here, I can make it, even better because this fork is certain, right? So my queen is aiming at the rook, which is guarded by the king. So if I take the rook, the king is forced to take back or else give me a rook. Now I can make the fork of the king and the queen. So these are different ways of using the fork. This is another example. There is no fork here. If I play this, which looks like a fork of the king and the queen, because this pawn is pinned, the rook is just going to capture me, capture the knight. But I see, oh wait, I have this fork, right? And this is going to give me the queen. And I also have this checkmate on g2. Okay, so who's guarding this checkmate? The queen. Good. How about this fork? The rook. So the queen is guarding checkmate on g2. The rook is guarding checkmate on, the fork on f3. But this bishop, who's now guarding this bishop? Because if these two guys start guarding these two pawns, then who's guarding this bishop? Something is not right here. So because I know this is happening here and these two guys are tied down to defending these two pawns, I can make a move like this. Now there's a problem. If the rook takes, which is this, then I can make a fork because the pawn is pinned and the king has to move, and then I get the queen. And now, if the queen takes, if the queen takes, which is now, this is not a fork, I'm just going to give checkmate. So those are ways you can use, forks, not directly now, indirectly. We want to go to c7 in this position. This knight is guarding c7, but good for us, we have a bishop aiming at the knight that is guarding c7. So if we take the knight, it doesn't matter what it takes with. Queen, pawn, doesn't matter. We're going to go to c7 and make a fork. Unless if he castles, and then I might just go back and just get a free knight. So those are forks. Those are the ways we use forks. Now let's take a quick look at discovered attack. In a discovered attack, you're trying to open up an attack which is hidden in the lineup of your pieces. In this position, the rook is aiming at the king, but the knight is in the way. So in white's piece lineup, you can see there's an attack hidden somewhere here. All we have to do is move this knight away and we would have an attack. So this is basically what discovered attack is. When you have a lineup of pieces, but there's an attack somewhere, when you move one of them out of the way, then you open up an attack on the opponent's pieces. But how do you get to know all of this in a game? How do you get to find all of this? Because you having this might be a little tricky, but it's easy. Your clue is just like the pins. Remember, when we looked at the pins, we had two of the enemy pieces on a straight line. We have two enemy pieces on a straight line, and then you attack the smaller piece, and the smaller piece cannot move because the bigger piece is right behind it. In a discovered attack, you have two of your own pieces on a straight line. You have two of your own pieces on a straight line, and the enemy piece is the third piece. If we had if these pieces were, no, I don't want to confuse you. Now, if we had two black pieces on the board, if this was a black knight and a black rook, then the black rook here would have been able to make a pin. But because this is discovered attack, we have two white pieces lined up and a black piece. Now, if we move this knight away, there's going to be an attack on the king. In a discovered attack, you have an attack, but it's not the attack that really matters. It is what you get out of the attack that matters. Now, this knight has a possibility of going to this square, this square, this square, this, 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 and this. Doesn't matter. If I go to any of the squares, I would have a check. But not all of the squares make sense. All of this don't do anything. The only two squares that actually gives me something is this one, because when I go here, I need to check on the king. The knight is also attacking the queen. And the other one, which is this one, it's a check on the king, but the knight is attacking the king. We're discovering an attack on the king, but we're also attacking the queen. So this is what a discovered is all about. When you have two of your own pieces lined up and there's an enemy piece in front, it tells you can actually make a discovered attack. Now let me give you other examples. What is familiar? What looks like a clue to you? The queen and the bishop, two of your pieces. Enemy piece. on the same line, 2 white pieces, the black piece. So how can I move this bishop? Remember, you want to get something out of it. So if I go here, it's just going to take, this doesn't really do anything. It's just going to probably capture, move away. And the only move that works is the check. Because when I give a check, the king has to do capture, protect, or run away. It doesn't allow the queen to escape. So if I go here with a check now, the king has to do something. It doesn't matter what he does, capture with the king, but I'm getting the queen on the next move, which is the goal. So what you get out of a discovered attack is the goal, not you just moving the piece and expecting to capture because your opponent is going to move away. Here, for example, 2 white pieces, bishop, knight, and there's an enemy piece. 2 white pieces, rook, bishop, there's an enemy piece. So these are clues for you. Two of your pieces, enemy piece, tells you there's something. So here, now the question now is, where can I move this knight in such a way that I can get something? Maybe get the some. Oh wait, I have this square, and I have this one. If I go here, it's a check. So the king has to do something, and then I'll get this. What if I go here? It's also a check. So it captures, then I get this. So these are the 2 squares for the knight. But I also have this one. How can I move the bishop in such a way that I could get something? It's easy. The best thing is also always a check, because when I make a check, the king has to respond. And as long as he does that, then I can get whatever I want. So if he goes this way, if I give him a check, takes, and that's it. So those are basic examples. The same thing with this one. You see 2 white pieces and the black rook. So it tells me if I move this, then I can get something. But where should I go? I have to now begin to calculate. I can actually play check. It's a check. We said check is always the best because the king has to move. And I think so, because if we do check now, if we do check, king goes to the right, this is just checkmate. King goes to the left, you give check, he has to move again. Then we'll come back to it. So now, let's look at 2 more examples. And then we'll look at how we can use discover attack for other objectives. 2 white pieces, there's a queen, enemy piece. What does that tell me? Where can I move this to get the queen? I think this is a check. Always the best. Okay, now this one. Okay, so what do I have here? 2 white pieces, enemy piece. Right? 95. I'm attacking the queen. Doesn't matter what it captures with. I'm getting the rook. So those are basic discovered attack. You have 2 of your pieces lined up. There's an enemy piece in front. So you want to look and get something out of the attack, not just moving the piece out of the way and opening the attack, but what exactly are you getting out of it? Now let's now see other ways you can use the discovered attack. Some cases, the discovered attack in itself is not possible. So you have to make a couple of forcing moves to make the discovered attack possible. In a position like this, this is easy. Okay, yes. Now this is one of the positions. Now we see that there's no straightforward discovered attack, right? I don't have 2 pieces and I don't have 2 of my pieces and an enemy piece lined up on a straight line. I don't have it. This is not a piece. There are no 2 in, but I see this pawn. My bishop is aiming at this pawn. But if I take this pawn, I'll force the queen to come on a straight line where I have 2 of my pieces. And then I can make a discovered attack. So you see, in this position, we don't have a straightforward discovered attack. We have to make it happen. And how do we do that? We have to take this first, Now, if he moves back, then we just capture the rook and we have 6 for free. But if he captures, now we see we've just made it happen. Now we've made him line up his queen with 2 of our pieces. Now we can give a check. Whatever happens, we take the queen. So you see, those are some of the cases where in this position, for example, this is another position. Right now, we don't have a discovered attack. If we move this out, it's not because we're just gonna lose the queen. It's an attack, but it's black's turn and black is just gonna capture or give checkmate or do something. So we really don't have a direct discovered attack, but we can actually make one. Because we know we have this lined up, 2 pieces, our pieces, black pieces, and there's an enemy piece in front. So he tells us we have a discovered attack. So now we say, how can we make this happen? There's nothing. But wait, our rook is aiming at the light square bishop, which is on a light square as our bishop. So if we take this, we're going to force the white king to move on the white square. And then when we move this bishop, it's going to attack the king on the white square. And then we can force the discovered attack. So we can start with this move, check. He moves away, we get the queen. So he takes. Now the discovered attack. So it doesn't matter what happens now. Now we get the queen. You can see in this position, there was no straightforward discovered attack. We had to make 1 or 2 moves to create it and then use it to win the game. This is kind of straightforward. Yes. This is another good example. We don't have a straightforward discovered attack because all those pieces are guarded. So there's no straightforward discovered attack. But wait, we have 2 rooks here, and this knight can actually make the fork. So if this knight go on to turn, we have a fork. We're going to lose the knight because the queen is just going to capture. But wait, we have 2 pieces lined up, the rook and the bishop. This doesn't apply in all cases, but in most cases, this is a prerequisite of the discovered attack. Just 2 pieces. For it to ever happen, you have to at least have 2 pieces. So, like we said, 80% of the time, all of this works. Now, so if I go here, might move away. Okay, then I'll capture. But if he captures, he's just lined up his queen with the bishop and the rook on the line. So easy. This is always the good move, the check. And then we get the queen behind. So those are ways we use discovered attack. So now we've looked at all the basic tactics, the pin, the fork, the skewer, and the discovered attack. Now, one more basic stuff before we go. We'll look at basic endgame. Yes, because the endgame is a part of the game where you have fewer pieces and the knowledge is very important. So it's hard for you to, play the endgame very well. You have to do a lot of study. But some point you have to at least know 1 or 2 things. The more you know, the better for you. So I'm only going to show you one of the basic things you have to know in the endgame. Some very vital stuff that you have to know. It's not, but if you know it, it's going to actually win games for you. And if you don't know it, it's going to deprive you of winning games. And that's what we're about to do next. Okay.